Hello and welcome to my channel, When the Stars Align, for those of you who are new. And I'm looking through the lens of human design to kind of reveal what core shadows are for the different types in human design. And I really love looking through these astrological lenses and working with them because it can give us such a pivotal, powerful gateway to seeing our own psyche, our own habits and patterns. And I'm also going to leave you with a tip. I'm not going to leave you hanging on the shadow. I'm going to give you some practical advice of how you can start to work with that shadow. And I'm really inspired to make this video because we're in a time right now of a lot of collective shadows surfacing, and there's immense benefit for us right now as an individual and also as part of the greater collective and the evolving consciousness on this planet to be doing this shadow work and be more aware of our predispositions for being less than our truest self. Last but not least, and I say that because I'm making this video last because you guys are the most rare type, this is the shadow video for reflectors. So I'm giving you an invitation to drop in to a potential shadow that you may hold, being a reflector, and also a tip to help you navigate and utilize this shadow so that you can grow and be more of your truest self. Now I know a few reflectors. One I know very personally, and I've worked with a few reflectors. And there's a shadow, and I've kind of witnessed reflectors in the media and celebrities. I've done a lot of examining of the reflector nature because I find it very fascinating. And for what it's worth, when I was going through a period of really noticing which type do I show up most like in my shadow, because I look at human design from like a very embodied evolutionary perspective. I don't think if you're this and you have that channel, like that's who you are and that's your destiny. It's like these are frameworks that we can like kind of malleably morph with and evolve through. And I realized when I was going deeper and deeper into each of the types that when I was in shadow, I was really taking on the habits of a reflector, and my mother's a reflector. So here's one of the shadows I noticed to be the strongest in reflector nature, and it can be the shadow of, how do I want to say it? Like, I don't want to sound morbid, guys, but you guys are deep. You're deep feeling souls. And when the shadow comes up, it's like getting sucked into a black hole. It's like all-consuming despair. It actually feels very Plutonic and Scorpionic when I merge the systems of astrology and human design, which naturally have overlays. But you guys, when you're in the shadow, which has its gifts, I'm not saying you shouldn't go here. Sometimes you need to go there because it can birth deeper compassion, deeper illumination, deeper connection to divine, Kali, Durga, destruction, which are equally beautiful parts of life as much as the light and the joy and, you know, the happy lionesses. You also need that depth and that Plutonic source. You guys can kind of get stuck in that, I feel like. And when I merge with that reflector archetype, I feel that too. It's like this all-consuming despair. This is it. It's all over. Nothing can get me out of this. Like, it's done. Like, it's just done. Like, there's no hope. And when you're in that space, because you guys are such powerful spiritual creatures, as we all are, but it's quite rare to be a reflector. I feel like you're really here to know what spiritual mastery is on this plane and in this lifetime. And again, that's going to look unique for you. That could be being a mom, or that could be going deep into studying the occult or a certain religion, or even like quantum mechanics and like quantum physics, like whatever allows you to really go deep into the nature of reality. And like the nature of the ethers is really powerful for you guys. But in that, there are some dark spaces. There's the void. The void is very present for these types. So I think the shadow is losing yourself in the void and forgetting about your human body. Getting a little too sucked into the spirit realms, to the doom and the gloom and the depth when it comes, and kind of abandoning and forgetting the part of you that is human. You know, if you cut your arm, you're gonna bleed. If you don't eat food for, when I say this, I always say this kind of like, really? Because people do a lot of crazy things with food and fasting. If you went 6 months without food, you'd probably die, unless you were doing some kind of monastic life and you're like a breatharian. But you know what I mean? Like, you're human. You're a fleshy, physical being. And I think the shadow of the reflector can be getting lost in the ethers. in both the expansive highs and like, oh, it's just all energy, and like, that's beautiful. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not trying to make fun of that, but you know what I mean? Like when it's a little bit too much like that, and then you forget to pay your rent, or you know, you forget that you need to eat a certain kind of nutrition, and then your iron levels drop, like these things, being human. And the depth of the ethers, which is like that black hole, deep scorpionic underworld stuff. You guys can really go there too. And when you're in there, you can kind of attract those entities as well that further affirm any shadow ideas you may have. Like, I'm not worthy of this, I'm a victim, this is that. You'll get that when you're fully focused on that space because you're reflecting it. You know, your nature is to reflect. So what are you consciously reflecting? And I would say that is the life raft for you guys when encountering this shadow of kind of like leaving the physical earth plane for a long period of time, or for a detrimental period of time, which could literally, it could be 3 minutes if it's detrimental because you've done a lot of damage, or it could be, you know, you're in a state for 3 months and you can't get yourself out of it. Who are you surrounding yourself with? I would say this is the biggest support with this shadow, your environment. And we know this, especially for mental projectors and reflectors. Your environment is everything. I've seen a reflector who, when she's in a certain environment, she thrives and she's like this endless bucket of wisdom, and in another environment it's scary. It's like a black hole. So you need to consciously choose with your human self what environment supports your healthiest, fullest, richest existence. And it doesn't mean you can't go to those places that are dark, but you need to strategize and make sure you're caring for your human self and your physical spirit and your body and your soul. You need to be the one to choose that. Because as a reflector, sometimes I do find that there can be this beautiful but like childlike innocence and this naivety. It's like, well, the universe will take care of it for me, and she will. But it's also you aligning with the kind of person who the universe will take care of. You know, if you want to be really supported by the universe, what can you do to support yourself? Because then you're just going to get that reflection back, right? Let's say you want to have a really healthy body, and you're calling in from the universe certain skills or tools to do that. What can you do now? Maybe you go for a walk around your block every day. Maybe you commit to having a liter of water for the first 3 hours of the morning. You know, like these are just random ideas, but the way you show up for you and take care of what you do have control of in your environment, putting yourself in places that support you, you'll only reflect and attract more of that. So this is my video on the shadow series for you reflectors. If you feel called to share below, I would really love to hear from you, especially you guys, because I'm so fascinated by you, and I'd love to hear your process. If you resonate with the shadow, if you resonate with the tool for integrating, and anything else you want to share. And stay tuned, I'll see you on the next video.